Night arrived without warning on the open plain. The last warmth of the sun drained quickly from the land, leaving the grasses pale and whispering as the wind passed through them. Shadows stretched long and thin, merging until the ground itself seemed to darken. There were no cliffs here, no caves hidden in stone, only wide sky and endless distance, where anything could see you and you could see almost nothing in return. A small band of humans moved with quiet urgency. They chose their place carefully, stopping near a cluster of thorny shrubs and a fallen tree bleached white by time. It was not shelter in the way caves would one day be, but it broke the wind and offered shape where there would otherwise be none. Hands worked quickly, pulling dry grass and reeds into thick mats, shaking insects loose before laying them down. Others dragged in branches, bones from old hunts, and broken limbs stripped of bark. These were placed in a rough circle, not to stop danger, but to slow it, to confuse it, to buy seconds if something came too close. Every movement had purpose, learned through nights survived and nights lost. They slept in the open. Hides were spread across the ground, stiff and cracked from use, smelling of smoke and animal fat. The youngest were guided to the center first, then the injured, then the old. Adults took the outer ring, lying on their sides with knees bent, bodies angled outward toward the dark. Spears rested within reach. Stones lay heavy in open palms. A small fire flickered nearby, kept low and fed sparingly. It did not chase the cold away. It marked the boundary between light and what waited beyond it. Flames reflected in watchful eyes as much as they did in the night air. Above them, the sky opened wide. Stars burned sharp and countless, uncaring witnesses to the fragile shapes below. The moon rose pale and thin, offering just enough light to turn shadows into threats and movement into fear. Sleep came only in fragments, shallow, broken. All was ready to end. Before walls, before roofs, rest was never safe. Sleep was a skill. Survival was shared. The sound came from beyond the firelight, not loud, not close, just a shift in the night. A low cry carried on the wind, too distant to see but too clear to ignore. Every body in the circle stiffened at once. Sleep vanished like breath in cold air. No one spoke. The fire was fed with care, not panic. A single branch was added, dry enough to flare, but not blaze. Sparks leapt upward, briefly carving the world into sharp edges. Grass, brush, bone, moving shadow. Then the light settled again, steady and watchful. One of the adults rose to a crouch, spear lifted but not raised. He scanned the darkness beyond the thorn ring, eyes following the gaps where danger might slip through. Another shifted closer to the children, placing herself between them and the open plain, her back straight, her breathing slow. They did not run. Running meant noise. Noise meant weakness. Instead, they changed the shape of themselves. Bodies pressed closer to the brush and fallen wood. Hides were pulled higher, breaking the clean lines of shoulders and heads. What had been a scattered group became something harder to read, larger, uneven, uncertain. Predators hunted what they could understand. Confusion was protection. The cry came again, farther now. A hyena, perhaps, or something larger, deciding whether the strange light and clustered shapes were worth the risk. The humans waited, motionless, letting the fire speak for them, letting silence stretch. Time passed slowly, measured in breaths and heartbeats. When the sound finally faded, no one relaxed all at once. Tension eased in layers. A spear lowered. A child was pulled closer, soothed by a steady hand. Someone reached out and adjusted the grass beneath the shoulder, repairing the night where it had been disturbed. More branches were added to the ring, quietly, deliberately. Thorn to thorn, bone to bone. Each piece made the circle stronger, more complete. The fire was banked again, reduced to glowing coals that would last until dawn. They settled back into place. Sleep returned in fragments, guarded and light. Yet in that fragile space, something solid had been built, not of stone, but of choice, of care, of shared fear faced together. It was not a cave, not walls, not safety, but it was shelter. And long before humans found stone to sleep beneath, they learned this truth first. Home begins wherever people stay.